So I want to get back to the gift giving, but since you mentioned perceptual distortions, let me discuss an ongoing study that I have, actually with the same former doctoral student with whom I just described the gift giving stuff with. His name is Tripat Gill. So so let me give you kind of the background. There's research that's been done in the past, I can't remember exactly by whom, where they took the same guy, brought him into a classroom, and they introduced him with one of several possible academic status. So, he's just a, lecturer, he's a full professor, right? And then they would ask people in the room to whom he had been introduced, how tall do you think this guy is? And of course, what they found is that the exact same guy, he doesn't suddenly become taller or shorter. Perceptually, we view him as taller as his social status goes up. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I took this, very clever little study with a beautiful finding. I said, well, let's see if we can take this exact idea. And since, of course, I study consumer behavior, apply it in a consumer behavior context. Now, how would we do that? So we created two online dating profiles of the exact same guy, where the only thing that changed is a photo of his favorite possession, because this is how he's trying to talk about himself, and it was either a fancy red Porsche or a very non-fancy red Kia, I think. And then we asked men and women to rate this target on a whole bunch of cues and traits, one of which was their perception of his height. Now here's the really interesting finding. Men shortened him because, at least the Porsche.
If he had the fancy car?
If he had the fancy car, exactly.
Because they think he's overcompensating for insecurity?
Well, it could be that's the, okay. my penis is smaller if I'm driving a fancy car. No, I think it's because when you are facing a guy of high status, that's when you feel threatened as a male, and then the derogation strategies that kick in should be consistent with that. And therefore, this guy Robert is driving a Porsche, well, he must be some little short shrimp, he's not a serious guy, right? And so therefore, because I know that height is all other things equal associated with high status, I derogate you this way. On the other hand, in women's case, which we call the status elongation effect, suddenly the guy became much taller. So the exact same stimulus perceptually changed in completely different ways depending on whether I'm a man or a woman. It would be very difficult to come up with this finding where you're not coming from an evolutionary perspective.
Yeah, that would make sense. So David Buss, who I think maybe wrote the preface or introduction to your book or something, or did he?
Consuming Instinct, yes.
Yeah. So he did early work on what he called the derogation of rivals, and it's another example of how males, and this can work with females too, but he was studying males initially, I think. Males have rivals, and it isn't just that they go, well, it's in my tactical interest to go around derogating them so people will think less highly of them. They tend to believe the derogation, right? It saves a lot of time to just believe what you're saying, right? And
self-deception, right?
Right. And so it's another example of that.